On the edge of Salem, Massachusetts, stood an old cemetery that time seemed to have abandoned. Tourists came in daylight for the witch trial stories, but no one dared to wander among the graves once the sun disappeared. Locals said the ground kept secrets best left alone. Daniel, a history student at a nearby college, wasn't easily scared. He had a fascination for mysteries and folklore, and Salem was the perfect hunting ground. While digging through archived town records, he found mention of a grave that was never officially listed. No date, no name. Only a stone carved with 2 words, "Do not disturb." That was all it took to spark his curiosity. One chilly autumn evening, Daniel walked through the cemetery's iron gates. They groaned open, protesting his arrival. A pale moon lit the crooked rows of headstones, while his lantern cast trembling shadows across the path. He carried only that light and his notebook, determined to document what he found. The cemetery was a maze of tilting stones. Names and dates had faded under centuries of rain, and ivy crawled over monuments like green veins. Daniel pushed deeper into the unkempt part of the grounds, where grass grew wild and no caretaker had touched the soil in years. And then he saw it. The stone was smaller than the rest, pressed between 2 twisted oaks that bent toward each other like guardians. There were no flowers, no offerings, no sign of remembrance, just the words etched into its face. "Do not disturb." Daniel crouched and brushed away moss. There was nothing else, no name, no date. The historian in him frowned. Graves always bore a mark of identity. Why not this one? Who was buried here, and why did the marker give only a warning? As he studied the ground, he noticed something odd. The soil in front of the grave looked fresher, darker than the dry earth around it. He pressed his hand to the dirt. It was damp, though Salem hadn't seen rain in days. A sudden gust rattled the oaks. Daniel jerked his head around. No one was there. The night was silent, too silent, as if the wind itself had hushed. He tried to laugh it off. Just the trees. But the air felt heavier, colder, almost like a whisper brushing against his ear. Leaning closer, Daniel ran his fingers over the inscription again. The stone was unnaturally cold, colder than the night air. That's when he spotted faint lines beneath the moss, letters hidden under years of growth. He scraped gently until a series of strange symbols revealed themselves. They weren't English, they weren't anything he recognized. He copied them into his notebook, though the shapes made his hand tremble. And then his lantern flickered. Once, twice, then went out. Darkness engulfed the cemetery. Daniel's breath hitched, yet in the blackness he could still see the stone faintly glowing, as if lit from within. A low hum rose from the earth, vibrating beneath his feet. He staggered back, but the oaks seemed to lean closer, their branches curling inward like arms shielding the grave. The soil began to pulse with pale light, spreading outward in waves. The words on the headstone brightened, the warning sharp and alive. "Do not disturb." Daniel shook his head. I didn't disturb anything." But the ground didn't believe him. A mist seeped upward, curling around his legs, and from it came shapes. Tall, thin, human-like forms hovered above the grave. Their faces were blurred, their outlines transparent, yet their presence was undeniable. Daniel froze. His mind screamed to run, but his body refused to obey. The figures swayed in unison, turning toward him. Though they had no eyes, their gaze pressed against him like a weight. I'm sorry," Daniel stammered. "I was only curious." The figures raised their arms, pointing back toward the stone. The hum deepened, transforming into whispers layered over one another. Hundreds of voices speaking at once. The words filled his head, drowning his thoughts. "Do not disturb." Daniel clutched his ears, but the sound wasn't outside. It was inside, vibrating through his bones. Then, just as suddenly as it began, the lantern flared back to life. The glow vanished. The mist dissolved. The grave stood quiet and ordinary once more. Daniel gasped, realizing he was standing in the exact spot where he had first seen it, notebook still in hand. His copied page of symbols stared back at him. The figures were gone. The silence returned. He ran. Branches clawed at his coat as he sprinted toward the cemetery gate. His chest heaved with every step, yet the only sound following him was that faint, fading hum. Back in his dorm room, long after midnight, Daniel dared to open his notebook. The page with the strange symbols was gone. In its place, written in jagged letters he did not recognize, were 4 chilling words. "This was your warning." Daniel snapped the book shut, shaking. He never returned to that Salem cemetery again. But some nights, when the wind was too still, he swore he heard that low hum outside his window. And always, just before he fell asleep, he remembered the inscription carved in stone: "Do not disturb."